All right, you got your gun rights restored here in Arizona, and you went to the gun shop to try to buy a gun, and you were denied. Today, I'm going to talk about the three most common reasons why you might have been denied buying a gun after getting your rights restored here in Arizona. And if you're new here, my name is Darren Woodfork. I'm an attorney in Arizona, and here at my firm, I specialize in restoring gun rights here and also sealing old criminal cases. And my expertise, I should say, is in filing with the court, making arguments with the court, and getting my clients' gun rights restored under the law. What my expertise is not is the clerical work or the paperwork of how people get their rights restored with the federal system. That's ATF, NCIS, things like that. But over the years of restoring my clients' gun rights, my clients have kind of, they've called me every now and then when their rights are, when they're denied of getting a gun, denied of buying a gun at a gun shop or whatever. And then they'll kind of tell me, kind of what happened. So I kind of know the process after the case, after your rights are restored through the court system. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. And these are the three most common reasons why. The first two are probably kind of surprising, and then the last one is really surprising, actually. But anyways, the first, and you might know this, but when you go to purchase a gun, the gun shop owner is going to run your name through the federal background system. It's called NCIS, I think it is, the National Criminal Background Check System. I think that's what it stands for. And when that answer comes back, if they see that you have an old felony case, they're gonna deny you the purchase. And now it's my understanding is that they give you a paper saying that they've denied it. They say kind of like why it was denied, and I think they put like a number on it. I think it's called the acronym. I think it's the NTN number or the STN number. They put that on the denial letter and give that to you and tell you essentially if you want to appeal it, you can appeal the decision. And so that's kind of how it starts basically once you're initially denied. And so the reason why most of the time people are denied, from my experience, and these are my former clients, is that there's a clerical problem. And what I mean by that is that once the judge restores your rights here in Arizona, the clerk of the courts has to notify Arizona Public Safety. That's where all the criminal records are kept here in Arizona. So at the Arizona DPS, they have to get it from the court. And sometimes they don't get it from the court. Sometimes the court just sends me or my client the order saying, I've restored all your rights, but they don't take that second step and send it to the Department of Public Safety. And so it never gets there, so the Department of Public Safety never updates their records. So that's one of the reasons why. That doesn't happen a lot, but this reason happens quite a bit, and that is once DPS gets it, they don't make the notation in their records that your rights have been restored. And so then when the feds grab from that, when the ATF or the feds grab from that, the notation still shows that you have the old felony, and that's what's preventing you from purchasing the gun. But it's just really just a matter that the record hasn't been annotated in Department of Public Safety. I would say that's 80% of the reasons why I've had clients who were denied their gun purchase once they tried to buy a gun after having their cases, their rights restored. So that's the number one thing, just like the clerical paperwork type stuff down at DPS or even at the court system. The next reason why, and this is, again, another probably 10% of the reasons why people are getting their gun rights denied, and that's because they have another case or they have another reason why the feds are denying the gun purchase. And so, yeah, you might have gotten all your rights restored in in Arizona, but the Fed still may say no because of a particular situation, and maybe that's a domestic violence conviction, maybe that's an immigration issue, maybe that's a mental health issue. Every now and then there'll be some other issue that is denied, is why the Feds say no, even though Arizona gave you your rights back. And so every now and then, like I said, there's a case where you go try to purchase a gun, the feds say no because of that other issue. It's like, yeah, your old felony case, your rights restored on that, but there's something else. So that's, again, I would say about the other 10% of the cases why you're right, you can't buy a gun. And then I'd say the last 10% is it's basically when you file the motion to get your old case, get your rights restored, you're going to get an order from the judge. And the judge in Arizona basically is going to give you all your civil rights back, including your gun rights back. So the civil rights are basically the right to serve on a jury, the right to hold elective office, and the right to vote. Those are like your civil rights, basically, that you lose with a felony, but you get them back once you get your rights restored. And then finally, or also in addition to that, I should say, is you get your gun rights back with that restoration. Well, sometimes the judge will order the rights, restored. They'll say, here's all your civil rights, but I'm not giving you back your gun rights back because it hasn't been enough time since your conviction. I've seen that a handful of times over the years where basically the judge will, in the order, it specifically says in the judge's order, the box is checked that your gun rights are not being restored in this otherwise motion to grant your civil rights. Again, that happens in about 10% of the cases. And again, it happens for the reason why, I kind of said this before in one of my other videos, is that in judge years, the judge years are so much shorter than like real life. And what I mean by that is I remember I had a kid who had a couple cases actually about 10 years ago, and the judge basically gave him all his rights back but not his gun rights, basically saying it hasn't been enough time, and it had been 10 years. So like I've always said that kind of like judges act like 10 years was yesterday. And so, in most cases, or not most cases, but in a lot of cases, you want to make sure it's been about 10 years or 15 years or even 20 years since your last case to make sure that the judge is going to restore your gun rights. Because again, the judges act like it's just yesterday that you committed the crime or whatever. So anyway, so that's like the last 10% when the actual order says your gun rights are not restored in the order otherwise granting your civil rights. So anyway, so those are the three reasons why most people, when they go down to purchase a gun after they've had their rights restored, why they're still denied. And just to kind of reiterate, the number one reason is just a clerical reason why DPS didn't update your records. The second reason is that you have some other issue in your criminal background that in addition to having your case restored, you have another situation that's preventing you under the feds. And then the third reason is, like I said, there's an order that once the judge restored your rights, they restored all your rights but your gun rights. So that's why, those are the three most common reasons why my people are denied getting their gun rights back. So anyways, hope that helps. If you have any questions, please reach out to me at my email at DerronW, that's DERRONW @MSN.com. And I'd be more than happy to answer any questions for you. Thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.